Voila! It's your boy, John Mack, a.k.a. Mindbender, back in the motherfucking biz building. And like we always do about this time, let's get into this commentary, man. Sometimes I wonder, is Suge Knight a narcissist by nature, or was that a developed habit as he began to increase his value in the industry, you know? Because sometimes Suge says some mind-boggling, eye-opening shit, especially pertaining to, you know, his relationship with Tupac Shakur. But you notice he never really talks about Death Row pre-Tupac Shakur. There's no stories really Suge talking about his pre-Death Row experience. Tupac Shakur, which Death Row was a label for 4 or 5 years before Tupac came around. You wonder why. Anyways, let's get into this real shit.
To me, that's like playing a game of chess, but at the same time, you ain't nothing but a pawn. You ain't nothing but a pawn, the pawn, the pawn, the pawn. You're not even the queen. You're not even the queen. Queen. You damn sure ain't the king.
Now tell me something. How many people believe out there that Suge is spitting that Masonic shit? You know, the chessboard is full of players, but only one will be victorious in a two-party system. One opponent versus the other opponent. Who has the stranglehold? Well, I'll tell you who doesn't. It gives a lot of credence to using a nigga as a human shield. But I'm just saying, though.
You gotta realize, the whole world know I hate rats, I hate snitches. I ain't into telling. So people always wanna know, is Pac dead, is Pac alive?
You know what, Suge? I'm gonna say this much, man. Them is very strong words coming from a man who got two of his closest homies clapped right next to him. I mean, you stared down the barrel of death twice, and nobody thought, after I killed Suge's homeboy, let me turn the gun on Suge? That's a question that we all have. But then, years later, after, you know, Pac is gone, after Big Jeff is gone, after you made funny comments about Eazy-E getting injected and shit, then, while you at the 1-0 Club in Florida, of all places, Florida, you know, there's a lot of things that are strange in Florida. You know the guy Ricardo Brown that was allegedly arrested with Tupac Shakur when he was accused of the alleged sexual violation against Ayanna Jackson? He was from Florida, ironically. But it wasn't Ricardo Brown that's corrupt from Death Row Records, right? No, that's corrupt. Strange activity, man.
Pac loyalty was like through the roof. A lot of people Pac definitely wouldn't be getting along with. Pac pushed his line the way he pushed his line. Pac loved Death Row. And Death Row loved Pac.
Pac loved Death Row. And Death Row loved Pac. Okay, so answer these questions with all this love going around. So, Pac was always nervous to be around Death Row security because Death Row security was police, you know, Reggie Wright Jr. and them. And when Pac figured out that his money was being siphoned, allegedly, he had Yaki Gaddafi's mom craft a letter to Death Row Records firing David Kenner, the attorney, the same super attorney that bailed him out from prison. and then had Reggie Wright Jr. fired, right? And you think there wasn't some bitterness and vitriol with all this love going around? I'm just saying though. Pac loved Death Row, and Death Row allegedly fucked Pac over. That's the reason why he fired niggas from Death Row. Then we heard all the stories about Machiavelli Records, right? Machiavelli Records, not the outlaw signing the Death Row, not Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati, distributed on Death Row, but distributed through Machiavelli Records. But ironically, after Pac was killed, y'all got the rights to redistribute those projects again. That's incentive, bro.
But all in all, I remember the first time I ever took Pac to a basketball game, which at the time I didn't know that was his first basketball game he ever went to, which it was Magic Johnson and the Lakers playing Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls.
Now, the number 23 and 32 symbolize duality in a singular context, trying to band the forces of good and evil, intertwined with bullshit and politics.
We have floor seats, we feeling good, doing what we do.
Don't wait till I'm in the zone, be at home, all alone, honing my skills.
As usual, shutting shit down, wilding out, pushing the line. That what really made my days happy, that what made his days happy. Regardless how you look at it, Pac was pro-black. He's with the blackness. A lot of people talk about Eminem doing certain things, but Pac, he didn't do no Death Row songs. It was like studio scraps, shit he did with like Thug Life or whatever, but Pac would have never approved of Eminem touching any of his material.
Where were you in your career when Tupac died?
Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. When I heard that Tupac died, I was cooking in the restaurant and tickets were piling up and shit. I'm like, I don't care, fire me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, that was devastating. It's just like, oh my God. Tupac was the first rapper to me that could make you cry. Like I felt him that much. And, you know, me not knowing my dad and shit was going on with my mom and the whole shit, like, it was just like, oh my God, that's me, you know? He was like 1 year older than me. You know, he was only 25 years old. And we were just like, what the fuck?
Pac would never approve Eminem taking any of his work, trying to make it his work. First of all, Pac definitely, hands down, didn't like Dr. Dre. Eminem's a part of Dr. Dre. Pac wouldn't have fucked with him. Pac would have took off on him on top, off the top.
Let me tell you what I don't like about them comments. You know what I'm saying? First of all, West Coast Foundation, as far as what we know to be the West Coast today, is Dr. Dre all day. Without Dr. Dre, we ain't really got no foundation. I'm just being honest. You know, our foundation would have been Egyptian Lover and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure that would have been too solid of a foundation. Now, Suge, why the fuck are you always goddamn criticizing Dr. Dre, man? Don't you ever get enough of that shit? You know, I used to think that all the time to myself. This coming from a nigga who fucked with Michelle A, man. Everybody know Michelle A was fucking with Dr. Dre for years. Your loyalty is in the toilet, nigga. If that's the kind of loyalty you had to Dr. Dre, who was the foundation, not only of the West Coast, but of Death Row Records, the cornerstone, the golden goose. But you turned on Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre told you, I'm tired of seeing pit bull fights in the fucking hallway, niggas getting slapped and forced to drink pee. And how can I make beats and do music in a professional environment like that? Y'all didn't take him serious. And Tupac got there with all that brolic shit. We all love Pac, but Pac was acting a little extra when he got around you. Suge, that Geppetto shit, man. Simon. You know, so Simon says this and Simon says that type of shit. And then Jiminy Cricket, Pinocchio type niggas get to jumping and hopping. You put a lot of batteries in niggas' backs, man. And then when niggas came to collect that battery, nigga, that battery money, and you didn't have it, nigga, the dominoes started to fall on that ass, man. Always criticize. This coming from a nigga. Dr. Dre said, you can keep Death Row, keep all the masters, and you can have my wife, nigga. Just leave me alone. That wasn't enough. 28 years.
After he passed, man, he had 10 more albums. I wrote Afeni a note and drew a picture. She understood I was such a huge Tupac fan. And he's like the sweetest lady ever, man. She was just like, do what you feel. And they gave me all his acapellas. That was one of the funnest times of my life.
As long as you keep Tupac's vision, his music, and his memory alive, his spirit will not die.
And for him to say that he's another Tupac and people compare him to Tupac, there's no comparison. Pac went through real struggle. Those guys ain't went through real struggles.
Should get off the gas. So, before we continue any further with the commentary on this video, we got to make sure that, you know, all facts and evidence are accurate and correct based on the life of one Tupac Shakur, not based on Marion Suge Knight's opinion, because his opinion is obviously biased by what Tupac did for Death Row as opposed to what he did not do for Death Row, which Tupac had 4 albums and a full career before he ever got with Death Row Records. Let that be known. So the first thing we're going to address is the pro-black thing. We can only go off of the evidence, okay? So Tupac took a white girl to his prom in high school. Tupac dated Madonna. Tupac claimed that Mickey Rourke and Tony Danza were good friends of his. Need I speak any more or go any further? Let's not forget to mention Biggie Smalls, you know, the white kid that rapped under Johnny J, Tupac's longtime producer. And Tupac gave him a shout out called, you know, rest in peace to my nigga Biggie Smalls. Now, pro-black symbolizes a man whose whole premise is black empowerment, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Tupac was definitely about black empowerment. However, Tupac didn't use black empowerment to shit on others or their race. That wasn't his style. We don't have any songs like that. There's no songs referencing that. So Suge, please kill the mustard. Don't try to, 30 years later, muddy Tupac's legacy with other people, other races, and other cultures. Because Tupac was very accessible to all of his fans. That's number one. And number two, he was a great actor on and off the screen, as well as hip-hop entertainer, poet, Renaissance man, humanitarian, all-around good son, taking care of his family and his cousins and friends, the Outlaws. I mean, you know, with all the negativity that surrounded Tupac in his short life, we sure forget about the balance of positive and good emotion and conversation that he evoked upon people. Rest in peace, Tupac. The second thing you said, Suge, was Tupac rapped about real struggle. You know, he went through real struggle. You know, that's ironic coming from a kid named Sugar Bear. You know, a guy who grew up in the suburb of Compton, you know what I'm saying, when Compton was a nice place to be, with 2 parents that had full-time jobs and pensions, you know, versus a kid who grew up in a trailer home in 8 Mile, you know what I'm saying, with a single parent. Suge, you was raised in a two-parent home. You played football, had a scholarship, went to UNLV. I'm not sure that Eminem actually graduated from high school. I'm not absolutely positive or not, but he definitely didn't go to college. And as you heard in his story and his understanding, I'm saying he was ready to quit that faggot-ass job he had at the restaurant washing dishes when he heard Pac died, because it had really infilled him with the wisdom that he needed to go out there and search for a real deal. So why shit on others' struggles, man, to make yourself feel better when you was a spoiled brat and raised with a silver spoon in your mouth? Just because you lived in the great city of Compton doesn't mean that the hub city claims Suge as some person who was a massive force in either positive or negative vibes. Suge got two of his homies clapped. How many people did Suge get clapped? None that we know of, none of the important motherfuckers that was shitting and dissing Pac and dissing you, nigga.
Pac went to hard times, Pac went to good times. But at the same time, he spoke to the people through his music. It wasn't just about doing diss songs or talking about people. It was about what he felt. If he didn't feel it, he wouldn't have said it.
Aha, finally something reality-based, man. Finally something grounded in truth, in realism. You know, if we can sit here and criticize one of the greatest music moguls of all time, you know, Marion Suge Knight, in which we are going to give you a hard time, my brother, because you need to do a little more to carouse positive vibes, man. Especially with the new podcast you got going, man. You're doing a lot of shitting and pissing and hardly any uplifting. And it's well needed from you, man. Especially if you want those on the outside to see that you've made a positive change. Or do you like sitting in prison for the next 22 years? You tell me, my brother.
And I think people got everything backwards nowadays. They got the game all twisted up. They think it's just about saying whatever they want to say or what people want to hear. That's not what it's all is about. Art is about is saying what they feel and what they believe in, regardless if it's a message, regardless if it makes somebody feel better, regardless if it makes somebody ride, but it's what they feel. And that's what Pac was about. At the end of the day, that's what he cared about. I felt that there would never be another person have the work levels of Tupac. But God have his ways to sending people to you that do the same thing. That's him, P.D. Pablo. That's my little brother too. P.D. Pablo and Tupac would have been road dogs. Because they both wild as fuck.
Here we go again with the made-up motherfucking Suge Knight stories. Nigga, you better raise up, nigga. Because P.D. Pablo definitely would have never been road dogs with a Tupac Shakur, nigga. That's high cap. First of all, Spider Loke said, and I repeat, I saw P.D. Pablo getting his earrings unscrewed by Big Spider. Tupac never, ever in his career, never got strong-armed like that without a nigga shooting him first. Are you fucking crazy? Man, Tupac's respect level was on a whole nother level. P.D. Pablo has never had a meaningful song in his life. P.D. Pablo has dance records that are meaningful. But when we talk about social commentary, political entendres in the midst of a verse like we never ever seen and will never see again, Tupac's lyrical ability that often is slept on. We're not just talking about his dope rapping skills, but his lyrical ability. Tupac is the only dude in the world I know make a dance song and in the middle of a dance song criticize the president. Bill Clinton, Mr. Bob Dole, you too old to understand the way the gang's told. You're lame, so you're lame. P.D. Pablo would have been considered a fucking lame, on top of the fact that P.D. Pablo was a goddamn drug addict. Not saying that there aren't people out there that don't have that problem, but Tupac Shakur was definitely against that. From my understanding. Now, maybe when he got older and more matured and shit, who knows how he'd have been. But at 25, I was totally on board with Tupac Shakur and not doing no fucking drugs. That sounded stupid to us back then. How you gonna be on the same shit you trying to sell? You couldn't do it and it wouldn't work. That's number 2. Number 3. Why does P.D. Pablo somehow seem like an upgraded version of the Realist, which was really a downgrade? What happened to P.D. Pablo? I guess after getting them earrings unscrewed, his ass got as far away from Suge as he possibly can. Because then he made a song, you know, talking about how he can't allow Suge to be his Geppetto no more.
Thank you, dawg, for everything you've been to me since came out here to fuck with y'all. Hung-guarded, full-hearted, what I'm supposed to say, dawg? Took me to your mama, introduced me to the folks that had your children for you. I held your daughter. I know that don't happen often. You gotta have love for me. You gotta think more of me than the world think you think of me. We ain't got to have the same mother to be brothers. You heard me? Say what you want, I can hear what you're telling me. But I can't follow your lead. I can't follow. Say what you want, I can't. Ain't the dudes I hate. I ain't gotta be the Snoop. I ain't gotta be the Dre. Only reason I address Quick and Nate, this the South, dog. I had it straight. Folks was looking in my face. Ain't no kind of way I could stand there and say I ain't never been afraid. I ain't never turned to nobody and asked them to save. Yeah, I know I might be crazy, living cold, dog. But dog, can't blame me. That's the way the streets made me. Say what you want, I can hear what you're telling me. But I can't follow your lead. I can't follow. Say what you want, I can't try. You, Heavenly Father, forgive me for all my wrongs, forgive me for my drug problems. I know I keep telling Suge that I ain't doing nothing. He know it's a cover. He gon' hold me down whether or not do it right or wrong, cause he concerned. And in my book, that's all I ever ask for my motherfucker. Say what you want, I can hear what you're telling me. But I follow your lead, I can't follow. Say what you want, I can't try. You, say what you want.
They both don't give a fuck. They both want the attention. They both want the all eyes on me. You know what I mean? I named the album All Eyes on Me. Pac wanted to name it Euthanasia. That means life after death. I was like, no, we're gonna name it All Eyes on Me, which was all eyes on him. On simple fact, you fresh out the penitentiary, you fucking with Suge Knight. You know what I mean? People realizing what you go from a corporate world to death row. So all eyes is on him. It's gonna be on him. Which,
That's what it is, real.
see what I mean?
Don't wait till I'm in the zone. In the zone. Be at home. All alone. Honing my skill. That's the way that I feel. Dealing with stress. The hip hop ghetto vet. Yeah. Don't wait till your downfall. No way at all. Don't wait for your downfall. Don't wait. Hesitate. Hear the legend of the
Same thing. You know, you got people like putting out poetry, saying Pac wrote those poems. And Pac might have wrote a few, but he didn't write all those, you know what I mean? You got people turning around and saying that Pac was in love with him, he wanted to marry him. All the same old bullshit. But that's not the same shit. But that's the same shit. Every time, look, every time. That's it right there, you know what I mean? Bam. Call him on. You know how we do it.
In the motherfucking house. That's the business. P. Pablo. Heard of Pop. Love his music. Fuck with Pop. I don't fuck with all the people that claim to fuck with Pac that really never fuck with Pac, but sometimes it's just the way it is. But I don't give a fuck about none of that. I care about my brother. Whatever my brother care about, that's what I care about. Know what I mean? I ain't never had a brother we can wear the same clothes and all that other shit, you know. So it's off the chain.
But you gotta realize one thing. He rap and sang.
And produce. And
a penitentiary nigga.
And a prison nigga. And a real nigga. Pimp. You don't know what a real nigga.
Oh, man. Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about, Bojangles?
Cool as a motherfucker. Smooth. Hey, look, man, y'all go ahead and do y'all thing, man. Make sure you get something. You want another drink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's business.
That's what that business is.
What it be?
I want to call him I let you
We're about enjoying ourselves, having fun. And you know, anytime you like turn around and
oh no, I dropped my glasses.
Call yourself putting the wall in front of
Pinocchio,
blocking everybody else
missing
out,
from the
you really
jar.
putting yourself in prison.
Did you take it by any chance?
I mean, majority of the time, you really see me and Pac.
Sure
We was me and Pac.
Because
we was here, we was there, we was everywhere. We was pushing in places where people wouldn't go. We was doing steps that people wouldn't do. I just think it's just, any way you look at it, it's always an honor for the world to have a Tupac. But at the same time, you gotta respect him, you gotta respect his work, you gotta respect his name. This is like certain people had their Elvis, we have our Tupac. At the same time, you don't see people taking Elvis Presley songs and letting anybody be on them. You don't see people taking Elvis Presley songs and just letting anybody rearrange them. It never happened. So I think it's really unfair to let Pac songs be done that way. None of the Death Row stuff, it ain't gonna be done like that. It can't be done like that. Because I know one thing, I gotta ride for Pac. It ain't about making some change, it ain't about doing what to make the next person smile, it's about what do will make Pac happy. And Pac wouldn't be happy than anybody fucking with his shit. That's real important to me. It's real important to me to always push for Pac. I didn't go to a concert or when I need the crowd to get pumped up in my show, I say hold twos up for Tupac. What I did is tatted him and branded him on my arm. Tupac MIP. That's what it's about. So to me, it's like a lot of people probably know of him. That's like a lot of people know of me. But you don't know him. To know him, you gotta really been around him. To speak on him, to talk about him, to rap about him, you really gotta know what he was about. You just can't go and say, okay, I'm gonna do a song about Tupac to sell records.